All right, and we're back for more adventures with sentence fluency, making you more articulate, eloquent, and sexy. And so today, as you read, I want you to notice how your author opens different sentences. Look to see if there's an ing or an adverb opener, an ly, like desperately, immediately. Maybe they start with two adjectives. So check it out. As you read, you're going to read from 10, and then we're going to do a Kahoot. Then we're going to revise our quick write. We have a hands-on sentence strip activity, and we start with My Teacher Ripped His Pants, a very fun little writing assignment that you'll be looking at for the next several days. So items you need are your independent reading book, our little quadrant notes from yesterday with Jack that showed participial phrase in one corner, adverb, adjective, appositive. So you'll need those notes and your book, and I'll see you in 10 minutes. Enjoy. Okay, so as I read, I just noticed on one page there is a series of participial phrases. She had, glancing down at the screen of my cell phone, I blow out a puff of disappointment. I saw another participial phrase. She used glancing. Glancing around, I forced myself to remember how things looked last night. So, a couple participial phrases. The book I'm reading is called Scritch Scratch, and it's new, and it's about this girl. Her dad leads ghost tours in Chicago. So you get tickets and you go on this bus tour through the city at night, and he just visits places that have reports of paranormal activity, murders, hauntings, etc. So it's really good so far. So you can check this out of my library. But go ahead and you can share with your neighbor what's one cool sentence you found in your independent reading today. And then make sure you have your quadrant notes because we've got a Kahoot. All right, you definitely want your notes for today's Kahoot. Teachers, you can go ahead and click on the link. There are 20 items, and it's just asking, okay, it's going to show you a sentence, and you have to decide, is it a participial phrase opener? Is it in a positive? Is it an adverb? Those start with ly. Participial phrases start with the ing. Okay, so have fun, and I will meet you back. All right, who's a Kahoot winner in your crew? Today we're going to revise that quick write. So yesterday we just wrote whatever came to mind about our cat, whatever. It's just a quick free write, a brain dump onto the page. And we notice we start a lot of times with I, he, she, we, then this happens sometimes. And sometimes we just keep starting the same way over and over. So today, in light of new learning, when we know better, we do better, use your little quadrants, your little notes to help you. And I want you to make over 3 sentences. Okay? So I'm talking about my cat. He speeds around corners. Well, that's boring. So landing on his nimble paws, he speeds around corners, a streak of gray lightning. So I kicked it off instead with an ing opener, a participial phrase. That's cool. It's easy to start any sentence with an ly. Like, how is the action happening? Like, abruptly, a hissing and clawing combat erupts. Or frequently, one of them digs into the other's back and my cats race up the stairs piggyback style. Instead of just starting with a fight explodes at the top of the stairs, battling for dominance at the top of the stairs, hairballs come wafting down like tumbleweeds. So kick it off with an ing, comma. Maybe instead of just saying he does this, describe the he. Fueled and hyper, he clambers up our wing chair only to launch himself off at the top. So change out 3 sentences and then read it back to yourself and just notice how fluent and interesting your work now is. So just to do some revising here of a few sentences, we'll just give you about 5 minutes, and then we're going to get into a little hands-on activity. All right? Enjoy. Okay, keeping your little quadrant notes out and viewable for you, you can put your Chromebook aside and give yourself a little bit of a workspace. We're going to be creating some sentence strips. We're going to write a sentence across just a blank sheet of white paper, and then we're gonna rip it, tear it, and move it around and change the structure a little bit. So if you're virtual, if you're at home, just grab any sheet of paper. And teachers, you should have, if you're at school face-to-face, we created some sentence strips for everyone in your crew. Each person will need 2 today, 2 different sentence strips. So you may use pencil, you may use pen, you may use marker to work with these, whatever works for you. But we'll give you a second to create 2 sentence strips if you're at home, and if you're at school, teachers, just make sure every kid gets 2. See you in a sec. Okay, so you have a sentence strip here. I would like for you to write a sentence all the way across, okay? It has to just fit across That's it. It's okay if you have extra on the end, but you just can't go below it and start another line. Just one sentence across. It ends here, the very end, with a period. Okay? The sentence that you're going to craft is going to be a participial phrase sentence. So mine, I came up with, it's on the screen here, scavenging for acorns, the squirrel prepared for winter. Scavenging for acorns, that's my participial phrase. The squirrel is my subject. Prepared for winter is my verb phrase. So go ahead, I'll pause, take a second, and write yours across your sentence strip. If you need help, you can look at the first bullet point up here. Scavenging for acorns, comma, the squirrel prepared for winter. Go for it. Okay, scavenging for acorns, my participial phrase, the squirrel prepared for winter. You are going to cut or tear, you're going to tear off your participial phrase. So after the comma, the opening little phrase, go ahead, snip, cut it off. So then you have just your subject and your verb. Now I'm just left with the squirrel prepared for winter, my boring, sad little third grade sentence. So snip off your participial phrase. I'll wait for you to do that. If you don't have scissors, you can just fold and do a quick tear. Okay, once that you've done that, I want you to now cut after your subject. What's my subject? The squirrel prepared for winter. Who's doing that preparing? Well, indeed, it is Mr. Squirrel. Let's go ahead and cut off your subject. Some of you might just be I. It might just be me. It might be your friend, your dog. What is the noun? Mine is the squirrel. The last part I have is just my verb, prepared for winter. So lay those three pieces on your work surface, please. Okay. After you've done that, I want you to play with them. I want you to move them around on your desk and see if you can put your participial phrase, your subject, verb in a different order that would still make sense. So scavenging for acorns, the squirrel prepared for winter. What if I move the squirrel, or what if I move it around and I have the squirrel comes at the beginning? The squirrel, scavenging for acorns, prepares for winter. Can participial phrases go in the middle? The squirrel, scavenging for acorns, prepared for winter. Indeed it can. Try again. Where else can the participial phrase go? Kick it to the end of your sentence. Would that work? The squirrel prepared for winter, scavenging for acorns. Indeed it would. I'd have to capitalize the squirrel, prepared for winter, comma, scavenging for acorns. So it's up here. So what have we learned? We've learned our participial phrase can go in three different places. You can kick it off at the beginning of a sentence. It can interrupt the squirrel, scavenging for acorns, prepared for winter. Or it can go at the end. The squirrel prepared for winter, scavenging for acorns. So I'll pause. I'll give you a sec. I just want you to play around and then leave it on your desk the way you like it the best. Which way do you think is the most fluent and the most interesting? Very cool. Okay. Second sentence strip. I want you to write a sentence this time that starts with a double adjective opener. So two describing words. So mine is, we're talking about sailor football, proud and victorious, the team charged off the field. So proud and victorious right here, those are my two adjectives. The team, that's my subject, my noun. What they do, my verb, charged off the field. And it's right here on the screen. So I will pause. I would love for you to craft a sentence like fueled and hyper, comma, my cat launches himself off the chair. So start with two describing words. You're not going to start with like my dog or he or she. You've got to start with your interesting adjectives that really pop and grab the reader's interest. So I will pause, craft your sentence. All right, and now that you've done that, I would love for you to snip off your two adjectives, cut right after the comma. So I have proud and victorious are my two adjectives, and I shall cut right there. I'm left with my boring sentence, the team charged off the field. Okay, you do that. Cut off your two adjectives. When your boring sentence is left, the team, and then whatever they did, your subject, whatever they did, I want you to cut off your noun, your subject. Okay, so this makes you think, what is my subject? Who's doing the verb? Who's performing the action? The team charged off the field. Go ahead and lay your three little pieces on your work surface and then start playing with them, moving them around. Where can the adjectives go? They can obviously go at the middle or at the beginning. Can they go in the middle? Can they go in the end? Play around with your next sentence strip. So my middle one, the team, proud and victorious, charged off the field. I like that too. The team charged off the field, proud and victorious. Okay, we don't normally write like this. We usually say the proud team charged off the field. And that's how we always start with just the team or the proud team is boring. So notice proud and victorious. It can lead off a sentence. It can interrupt. It can even end a sentence. So this year as we write, we want you to be crafty and clever and play around and have fun with your sentence structures. It doesn't always have to be the proud team did this. Proud and victorious, the team did this. The team, proud and victorious, okay? So we're learning to be more interesting and more fluent. And with our remaining time, we are going to find one little document. And today my goal is just to kick you off and get you started with this. And then tomorrow you'll really work this into a neat little narrative. And you'll find it in Google Classroom under Sentence Fluency. And it is called My Teacher Ripped His Pants. Okay, I will pause and you find that. So when I was in high school, I took world history, and our social studies teacher, he was also the gym teacher and the football coach, and he wore these extremely tight, like wind pants, workout pants, and he would sit in his like little rolly chair with his legs hanging open, and he had like this clipboard that he would just lecture at us from with all these notes on history, and these seams in the middle of his pants, right in his in other regions there, those seams were just straining. We were all freaking out and like taking bets on when like his pants were just gonna burst open and everybody see his whitey tighties. So yeah, one day it happened. He got up out of that rolly chair and he had a little pants tear right there in the inner thigh area, and we're all going nuts like, oh my gosh, Mr. So-and-so, you're crazy. And he just keeps lecturing, stands up, grabs a stapler, and he just staples his pants closed and just keeps on going like it ain't no thing. My teacher ripped his pants. You're going to write a little short piece about this experience, and you can have any teacher. It can be me ripping my pants. It can be your crew teacher. It can be somebody from 6th grade, elementary, but you're in class and the teacher rips his or her pants. But you just got to have the goodies, the must-haves. I want you to try out an ing, like straining at the seams, comma. It looked like the pants were ready to give up. Kick it off with an adverb like desperately or embarrassedly, Mr. So-and-so snatched at the rip. Kick it off with 2 adjectives and then, of course, the appositive. So I'd love for it to share with you an example, now that you found this little document. These are the goodies: participial phrase, adverb, adjective, appositive, and this piece is begging for some figurative language, so I want you to have fun with it. And let's just look at an example. On Monday, my teacher had a rip in his pants. It was really funny. I didn't see it right away, but someone told me. Then I saw it. I wanted to laugh, but I held it in. Then someone told him. Everyone started to laugh. He left the room. The end. You know how painful it is for teachers to read this kind of writing? You know how much self-control it takes not to put a fork in my eye when I read these kind of essays? It's so boring. It was funny. I didn't see it. Someone told. Come on. Okay. So a remake. This one's a little bit longer, 2 little paragraphs. Don't freak out. Here's a student example. Yours doesn't have to be this long. Though we didn't know it at the time, on Monday in 5th hour math class, our wish was about to be granted. So it starts with some tension. Mr. Friedman, our tormentor, was feverishly writing an exhausting list of math problems for us on the board. Unfortunately, the list was rivaling the Great Wall of China for length. Just as he bent down to write the last set of problems, we heard rip. Splitting at the seams, his pants tore in an extremely embarrassing place. We'd all noticed his pants getting tighter over the last few months, but none of us dreamed they'd actually just give up. Exploding in laughter, our class took joy in the comical display before us. Shocked and mortified, Friedman glared at us, grabbed at the rip, and darted out of the room. It wasn't long before Mrs. Alry, the neighboring teacher, entered and demanded we all return to our work. Straining to contain our snickers, we reluctantly opened our textbooks. Predictably, Mrs. Alry never mentioned what had happened, but I think she, too, was trying to hold back a giggle. So where's there a positive? Look at this piece. There are 2 appositives. Where are they? Like my cat, a furry tank. Mr. Friedman, our tormentor, was feverishly writing an exhausting list of math problems. There's one. And we have another one too. Mrs. Alry, the neighboring teacher. So your second one is down here. Where do we have, let's say, an adverb, an ly opener? Check it out. Unfortunately, the list was rivaling the Great Wall of China. Predictably, Mrs. Alry never mentioned what had happened. So there's that. How about a participial phrase? You just need one, but there are multiple examples in this piece. Participial phrase ing. Splitting at the seams, splitting at the seams, his pants tore in an extremely embarrassing place. There's one. And exploding in laughter, our class took joy. There's that. And lastly, your double adjective. We had shocked and mortified. Okay? So there's a ton of like lively figurative language. The list was rivaling the Great Wall of China. You've got some exaggeration in there. Mr. Friedman, our tormentor. It's a fun little metaphor. You've got onomatopoeia like rap. Okay. So today, I just want you to start. You're going to get more time tomorrow and the day after that. But just think about it. If you can get a lead today, you are in good shape. So enjoy the pant ripping experience and have fun with your participial phrases and your adverbs. Okay. Be eloquent, be articulate, and we'll see you soon.